This is the Sanity House. Sanity House, ladies and gentlemen. Looks beautiful, right? There's a gym here. Gym. Workouts. For us who love working out. Sanity House kitchen. Lovely place. So these are the bedrooms for the Sanity House. Bedrooms. The living room. We don't give up over here, right? Yeah, this is the living room. Hello and welcome to the Real Life Show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan. Remember, this is a platform where we get to engage and interact, learn from icons, gurus, moguls, trendsetters, trailblazers, difference makers, and world changers. You know what I'm talking about. And talking about world changing, this guy right here is the real deal. Has an interesting story, and we're going to dive deep into it. I'm not sure how much time we have because deep stuff are going to be said right here on this platform. He's a former drug addict. Is that the term, right?
Yeah, former drug addict.
Now you're an activist.
Yeah, yes sir.
Great. So this is Daniel Mbazima. Man, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How you
I've
doing?
been waiting patiently. Mama, I made it. Yeah, I've been following your show for quite some time, and like a lot of phenomenal people that have featured, and it's an honor to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And finally you're here.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You're one of the people that are doing amazing stuff. I've been watching you. Someone told me about you, so I had to check you up on online. I had to Google you, social media you and stuff like that. And quite amazing things that we discovered concerning your life. But for people who don't know about you, just briefly tell us about your family and background and stuff like that.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Daniel Mbazima, and my father is a pastor. So you know what they say about pastor children.
Yeah. They're a problem.
Yeah, I'm a PK. Yeah. So so I come from a very religious and spiritual background, with my dad being a pastor. My mom has also been helpful in missionary work, and my sisters as well. Well, that's pretty much me, and I'm a former drug addict. We'll get into it. Yeah.
So let's dive into your school. Basic school, high school. Where did you do it from?
Okay, so for my basic school, I was a Material Boys Basic School.
Yeah.
And then all my childhood, because of my father's work, that's missionary, we've been moving from place to place. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was at SOS, and then we went to Mongo, came back. Then I went to Material Boys Basic School. That's where I wrote my grade 9 from. Then I went to Kambule, that's in Mongo. Yeah, I was there for some time, got expelled. Yeah, that's where everything started. And I completed my grade 12 at Lake Road, that's here in Lusaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what really happened at Kambole?
Girls. The drugs didn't kick in, it was something to do with the girl. Yeah.
Okay. At what point were you now addicted to the drugs?
Okay, so...
Was it alcohol only?
It was a bunch of things.
Everything?
Yeah. So right after my grade 12, I got good grades. I was given an opportunity to go and study medicine. That's in Russia.
In Russia?
Yeah, so when I went there, the first 3 years were okay. Within those first 3 years, my focus was my spiritual life and my academics. Yeah, so I didn't really have a lot of challenges till I started drinking here and there, to ease off on the stress. And that's pretty much, that was university lifestyle back then. That was the cool way to relax. So it started with the alcohol. Yeah.
And then we read somewhere where you talked about you having low self-esteem.
Yeah.
which had an effect on you.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I guess in university, I always wanted to be that cool kid, and I was looking for happiness on the outside as well as healing on the outside. That's what drove me further into using alcohol and partying a bit. And when I was in that lifestyle, I became a bit confident. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not one of those that will come and say like, no, it was bad. In the beginning, it was fun. Yeah. So I got the confidence that I needed, and I got the validation that I needed, and as well as the acceptance, so to say. So I was able to mingle with almost everyone because of the same thing. So alcohol for me was something that I used as an escape for euphoria as well as to fit in.
That was in Russia?
Yeah, that was in Russia.
In your third year?
Yes, in my third year.
Okay. And then you got expelled in school again?
Yeah.
Right there in Russia?
Yes.
What happened?
So in my third year, I was done with my third year exams. I was going to my fourth year, and I began that was in the first semester. But summertime, when we were on holiday, I got mixed up with the wrong people, and I wouldn't call them wrong people. I mean, I mingled with some people, and I got introduced to cocaine, and a lot of people didn't really know because some people were on holidays then. Yeah, so I got introduced to cocaine. And I loved it again. Yeah. So I'm an addict, which means I easily get hooked onto substances. Yeah. So I got introduced to cocaine. Cocaine, tried heroin here and there. Then there was weed and a bunch of other pills. So basically, I was getting high on everything. Wow. The problems came in when the school began to notice because my grades had slipped, and I moved from passing to clearing, which was just going on to the next stage. The school sat me down, warned me, but in that moment I was so in love with the drugs. Yeah. And that's what happens with every addict, because at some point you tend to fall in love with it because of the euphoria and the party lifestyle. So the school warned me, and I got expelled.
I've never, can I say I've not taken alcohol, right? I've tested it before, but I've never done 2 sips or even finished a cup. Yeah. And I've never done drugs, not smoked before. How do people feel when they're high? I want to understand the feeling.
So with alcohol, I would say the feeling is a bit prolonged. That's before it becomes a drinking problem, yeah. But for drugs, the euphoric feeling, I would say, let's say somebody comes right now and they go like, big man, here's a 50,000, you get. That instant feeling that you feel those first few seconds, but then prolong that for about 5 minutes. That's the feeling that's how you feel, yeah. Okay. So it's yeah. it's something.
Yeah. And then, so when the school noticed?
Yeah, the school noticed. They sat me down. I was supposed to have sessions with the counselor, which I did for quite some time. But then I still continued with the same lifestyle, and as a result, I got expelled. So I had to come back home. Okay. Yeah, doesn't end there. So I came back home, sat down with my parents, spoke, and for them, this was the first major incident that I had did, and you know how parents are, so they gave me another shot. We sat down, and I got a transfer to another school, another university right there in Russia, yeah. And I went back. This time I agreed, I basically made up my mind. I said, I'm not going to party, I'm not going to mingle with people, I'm not going to go out, of which I did. But I didn't get rid of my addiction. So I continued getting high by myself. And that became more disastrous because in the beginning, just like every other addiction, it moved from being something that I was doing for fun to now I was dependent, and then it took control of me. So I had to get high every 4 hours.
Wow.
And yeah. At the other university, they noticed as well. They were a bit lenient with me, sat me down, offered me all sorts of help. I didn't really take it because then it was too deep, yeah. Okay. So the only way that the university felt they could help me was return me back home, because at least I would be with my parents and people that cared enough for me, yeah. In that university, I was getting arrested a couple of times, you know.
For doing what?
Getting high, blacking out. Yeah, I wasn't really the problem guy, but I was getting extra high, yeah.
And then you came back to Zambia?
Yeah, I came back to Zambia.
So expelled twice?
Expelled twice. Yeah.
Quite an interesting journey right there. Yeah. So when you came back to Zambia, what were you doing now?
When I came back to Zambia, that's when reality kicked in. Yeah, because I had been in a foreign country for over 6 years. Yeah. So when I came back, in that moment, it so happened that's the time that most of my friends had graduated, and some people that I left back home were also doing well. So now I was in a position where I began to notice things around me. So my friends were buying cars, building houses, getting married, you know, switching jobs, having families.
And you had nothing to show
I had nothing
of
to
your
show
trip to Russia.
Exactly.
You had not finished school.
Nothing. I was just an addict then. And that now meant there was the addiction plus the depression, which was a dangerous collabo. Yeah.
At what point were you called the Russian boy?
When I was in Russia, I used to come back, and I was the guy back in the day. Yeah. So I would throw down a couple of parties for my friends, and you know, everywhere, especially MSD and Matera, I was known as Russian boy. Yeah, because in my hood at the time, I think I was the only one that left to Russia, and yeah, when I came back, you know, my swag was on point, everything was on point before it became a problem. Yeah. So everybody used to know to say, once the Russian boy is in, then we're having fun. So that became my name. People actually called me Russian boy instead of Daniel.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you're in Zambia. You haven't finished school. You've been expelled twice. Your friends are buying cars, marrying. You know, their lives seem to be, and then depression kicks in. Yeah. Because you feel your life is not where it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
You feel you are left behind. Did that lead you into more abuse of alcohol?
Yes, it did. It wasn't just alcohol; it was drugs also. Yeah. So what that did to me was, my sense of living and happiness, everything drowned down. And in that moment now it became worse because I had to steal to feed my addiction, which is common with most addicts, by the way. Yeah. So anything above 1 kwacha had to go for me. And I had sort of for my clothes, I had sort of my mom's clothes, my sister's clothes, dad's shoes, suits, name it, whatever it was. Yeah. So I was in that moment where I couldn't really do without taking anything. So my use of alcohol and drugs became more. At that point, like, I was addicted. It was really, really bad. And then my family noticed the effects of everything else. And now it wasn't just a family thing. At first, yes, just my family members knew and people were close, but now it was visible. So I had lost a lot of weight. I was stealing from place to place. I was basically calling church members, classmates. Everybody knew to say, this guy is now done. Yeah.
How was your family reacting to that?
I come from a very supportive family. Those guys, I love you guys. I know that you're watching, yeah. So my sisters held it down for me. My mom was there, yeah. She kept praying. My dad also never gave up on me. He's the one that started reading more about addiction and everything and stuff like that, yeah. But before that, I had left home for some time. I was living place to place, yeah. Was on the streets for a bit, went back. I was in and out.
I'm interested in that part. And I know you're talking about it, you know, briefly. But then, why did you leave your father's house and go in the street, where you had no food, you had no? I mean, it's like you had no parents at all.
I was before me. Yeah. So I used to steal a lot because I had to feed my addiction, and also it was the guilt and the shame.
What did you steal?
Anything. From from remote control batteries to anything. It meant.
And then you go sell it in the street.
Yeah.
Make money to buy drugs.
Yeah. So in that moment also, what happens in cases to do with addiction is that it hurts the family members the most. That's because you're seeing somebody you love turn into somebody you never ever thought they'll become. So as a result, there's anger, disappointment, frustration, parents blame themselves. So you have the addict facing this way, the family is facing the other way, so you never get to meet eye to eye. And as a result, we used to clash a lot. Despite the fact that they were supportive, I felt they were not doing enough for me. Despite everything that they ever did for me. So as a result, it had to take me to move to a place of people that would understand me better, which is what happened. And that place for me was Chiwolia. Okay, yeah. So I had to go to Chiwolia, and that's where I found people who were like me, people who were using
the dangerous place that we all fear to go to.
Yeah.
Wow. This is like a movie, right? At what point did your transformation begin? Did you meet Jesus or something?
No.
What happened?
Well, what happened for me was
and how long were you in the street?
About 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
Wow.
About 3 to 4 years. So what had happened was because of the lifestyle that I was living, moving to and from, and basically getting high, I got to a point where I was so depressed because now, despite the support that my family gave me, I didn't really know how or when I was going to pick myself back up. And it became a bit difficult. And as a result, I kept drowning into depression because everywhere I went, I felt so unwanted. And that's because of the things that I did to the people around me. And I just basically got tired of living that life. And I felt I was too much of a problem. And just like in most suicide cases, I felt if I was to go, then everybody else would be happy because I became a pain and an embarrassment to my father, who was, you know, in the pulpit. My mom also, at that point, she was sick. My sisters as well. I just became a total embarrassment. And the more I tried to get out of it, the more it became worse. So life basically became really, really rough for me. It took me.
And you wanted to kill yourself.
Exactly.
Because you thought at that point that was the solution.
Yes, that was the solution. And it took me to a point of actually wanting to commit suicide. So what happened is I was moving around. There's a place called Chungwe, Mandela Zambia Kuja and stuff. That's before, just when they started building those houses, a while ago. And I met a man, Mr. Mwanza. I'm still in contact with him. So he was loading bags of stone from his counter into a room there. He was still building his house. So I met him and he asked me for help, and so we were loading the stones in and everything, and then we started talking. So he was like, "You don't look like you sound," but I was an addict then, and I gave him a story. Parents passed on, this, that, and that, and all that was out of the guilt and the shame and the embarrassment because I didn't want him to know who my dad was. So as we were talking, he gave me some lunch, and then he and his wife told me to get in the house. And I showered. I hadn't showered in a long time, and I was looking good. So I went with him to the barber shop, came back, and the wife was like, "You know what? I just lost my brother," and because I was pretty small, I was really, really small then, and I have some clothes that I feel would fit you. And I got those clothes, and I was celebrating. In my mind, I was like, "Yo," because it was a suitcase, like it was a lot, and he gave me a 250, and I remember walking up. Bought a cigarette, I was smoking, and I was enjoying life. I mean, I had a 250, I had a bag full of clothes which I was going to sell to get more drugs. And in that moment, I sat down, and as I was looking at everything and feeling really good, suddenly I just became emotional because I was looking at my life. I'm like, I'm celebrating holding a 250 and a dead person's clothes who I've never seen before, and this is how life has sunk. From holding dollars to this, and from having all types of clothes to this level. So I just became emotional. Fast forward, my life didn't change there. Got myself to Chivolia. I think I might have overdosed. Let me just say overdosed, but I woke up in a drainage, and it was a number of cowboys, Wakaponya, who saved me. It was raining that day, so they got me, put me by a shelter, and people were passing by, and then they're like, it's Russian boy and everything. So everybody blamed it on alcohol at that point. So they're like, Kondamo Zakafa and whatnot and everything. It was in that moment where I got emotional. I said, no, this is it for me. So I was cold, I was shivering, I was wet, it was raining, I was hungry, I was a bit high. I was just all mixed emotions running through me. So I began to cry, and in that moment, a young girl came, and she was like, since Ufunozipa, and the parody is up Peter Motok. And for me, that
was that a vision?
No, like she actually came.
A person came to tell you to go and kill yourself.
I was the problem.
The easier route. So just go in the road.
I was the problem. I think during my addiction, I've met people who. Somebody once told me when there was a funeral. She told me, "I wish it was you that died instead of that person, because that person was a good person."
Wow.
And I don't blame them. I mean, I was a nuisance. I was a problem. And so when she said those words for me, that I thought about suicide a number of times, but I had the courage, and that, to me, that was just one person confirming. That's why it's very important for us to say the right words. So I thought about it, and I was waiting for next biggest car to come. That's when all of a sudden my mom showed up. I hadn't seen her in 8 months, and she picked me up, hugged me, picked me up, and that's how I went home. Story doesn't end there. She struggled with addiction for a year. Until the point of return was when I sat down with my dad. We had been having these meetings back and forth, and he was always encouraging me and everything. But he said one thing that's important to me, which I tell every other addict. He told me, Daniel, you are not the problem, your addiction is the problem. Those are two different things, yeah. You are not the problem, your addiction is the problem. What's causing problems in your life is the addiction, not you. Not you. Yeah, you're still the same one person that you were. And for me, those words symbolize hope. And my ancestor also told me, you may have failed everyone, you failed us, you failed blah, 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 you failed at many things in life, but don't fail yourself. So for me, I said, okay, yeah, you know what, let me try this thing out. And that's how I went into rehab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chainama?
No. Oh, before I skipped. It's too much, yeah. So I have been, in efforts to get me well, a lot of things happened. You know, at a certain point, parents do what they can do just to see you get well, because in that moment I was a danger to society, much more as a danger to myself because of the stealing and whatnot, and I couldn't take care of myself. So I ended up in China a couple of times, and I got arrested a couple of times. Yeah, all that didn't work for me because I became used to it. I knew to say, okay, if I go, I'll stay there for 2 weeks and then I'll be out.
What happens in China? I want to understand. I've never been there.
Well, basically, you have a number of people that are battling with substance abuse, as well as people that have mental illnesses, and we all go there to seek help. Yeah. But unfortunately, because the number of patients, the number of clients outweigh the people, the staff there, it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult.
So they can't give you the necessary attention that you need.
Yes, but to some extent they do. I mean, they try their best. Yeah, the people at China were really, really good to me. They did what they could in that moment, although it was hard. Yeah, people that are battling with substance abuse, as well as people with mental illnesses, need special treatment. Yeah, so they did try to do what they could do, but for me it wasn't. I just became used to that lifestyle. Jail and Chainama to me were not things that, you know. So
you tried jail, you tried Chainama, prayers, I'm sure, because Dad is a pastor.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Did you try witch doctors?
No, not really. Yeah. But there were times when people were saying, you know, when I'm lower, maybe it's demonic and everything and stuff like that. No, people are attacking the Father through the Son. You know how it is. People talk. Yeah.
But did you have someone in your family maybe that went through what you went through? Was the addiction only affecting you, or maybe it was something that was flowing in your bloodline? Talking about people who were claiming maybe you were bewitched or something.
No, there are people on both sides of my family that had drinking issues, but not to my extent. Yeah, not to the extreme. Yeah, both on my father and my mother's side, but mine was it was unique. Yeah.
Okay, so you went into rehab?
Yeah, so I went into rehab. Where was that was in Zimbabwe. We never had any rehabs then. Yeah, so that was in Zimbabwe. I went to rehab. Got on a bus with my dad. He took me right to the doorstep in rehab, and I stayed for a couple of weeks. Things were not really adding up for me. Yeah, I won't lie. Because I was still in that moment. I was still craving cigarettes, I was still craving drugs, I was still craving alcohol. And I didn't really want to change until somebody that came through and spoke to me, Mr. Joseph. He came through, spoke to me.
Right there in
Zim. He's Zimbabwean. So he spoke to me and he brought it out from somebody who's battled with addiction. Okay. Yeah, from that perspective. And since then, I felt like I found my older or senior double. Yeah. And that gave me hope, and then I started working on myself. Okay. Yeah.
So when you say working on yourself, what exactly did you do that initiated the process of recovery?
Firstly, I had to accept the fact that I didn't have a problem with accepting to the fact that yes, drugs were bad and everything, but I had a problem with accepting the fact that I had to stop drinking and I had to stop chilling. After he came and he spoke to me, that's when I knew to say there are actually 3 types of people that drink. Okay, so we have the first class, we know them as social drinkers. These are people that drink, you know, their drinking is okay, yeah. From time to time they do get drunk because it's a chemical substance that they take, but it doesn't really cause problems in their life, yeah. I'm talking about somebody who have a 10,000 and drink 100 kwacha off. I'm talking about somebody who drink and then the wife, the friend, or whoever calls for something important and then they can leave there. I'm talking about somebody who can watch soccer with maybe 2 bottles, that's it, yeah. Those are the first class, the social drinkers. Then we have number 2, people that abuse alcohol. Okay, so these are people from poor or low social economic classes. Yeah, because it's a lifestyle, they grow into it and they perceive it as normal. They lack opportunities, lack education. But if you were to get such a person, give him a job, he would instantly stop. They do it because of stress. Yeah. Then they need people like me. Yeah. So
special people.
Yeah. So for people like me, I'm an alcoholic. What that means is that I cannot control my drinking. So when I drink, it affects my finances, it affects my occupation, it affects my reputation, it affects my relationships. I resort to inferior environments and inferior companionships. It affects my health. It affects the way I look, the way I feel. It basically affects and controls everything around me. So for people like me, I'm known as an alcoholic. I just cannot drink normally. The thing I like to say is, if I try to control it, I cannot enjoy it, and if I enjoy it, I cannot control it. So accepting the fact that I couldn't drink like normal people was a big issue for me. Yeah, I think that's until I got to the point of acceptance to say, yes, this is causing problems in my life, and I have a drinking problem as well as a drug problem. That's when the real transformation started. Yeah.
Now that was your first step. I want you to take me through these steps, because I believe there's someone out there who's into your situation, your previous situation, you know, abusing alcohol, and they just don't know what to do. They've tried all manner of options, and they're saying, Jonathan, I don't know how to get over this thing, and I'm depressed and I'm having a challenge. What are those particular practical steps that they should take, that you took, that got you out of that condition?
Okay. So the first thing is mainly accepting that you have a problem. How do you get to the conclusion? Firstly, you need to understand that it's not about what you drink or how often you drink or how well you drink. It's about what it does to you. Same goes with drugs. It's not about anything. A lot of people like to switch and say, no, maybe it's the beer, maybe it's the vodka, it's this and that. It's not about what you drink, it's about what it does to you. Secondly, if drinking is causing any problems in your life, that's it, it's a drinking problem. And lastly, you are not the problem. Your addiction or your drinking is the problem. So the steps that you have to take is look at that and look at your past. Look at what it has done to you. Okay, don't come up with the nevers. I meet a lot of people who tell me, but I never went to the extent of killing myself. I'm still working, I never lost everything. Don't tell me what it has never done to you. Tell me what it's doing to you. And until you get to that point you accept, then you begin to make changes. Some of the changes that you need to be aware, because alcohol controls the places you go to, the people you mingle with, and what you do. So you need to watch those three things: the places you go to, the people you mingle with, and what you do. The third thing on how to get sober is, don't say I'm going to be sober for a whole year. Like I had a number of people who usually say, it's January, resolutions and everything. If you check back, they're still drinking right now, or they're still using drugs right now. So don't say I'm going to get sober the whole year, or I'm going to stop after a week or after a month and that's it, I'm done. It doesn't work that way. So one of the principles that I use are the 24-hour rule, which I still use till now. 24-hour rule, 1 day at a time, which means you get sober in the now. Okay, so I used to get high every 4 hours. So what I did was, I just said, let me do an hour at a time. Okay, so an hour at a time. Let's say you wake up, you distract yourself, maybe watch the news or do whatever it is you have to do, go for work and everything, while you're watching the people, the places and the things. So you keep doing that an hour at a time. What happens is, you clock an hour, you do another hour, and you're picking up new hobbies and new things. Okay, I understand transition in your life can be a bit lonely in the beginning, but then also read things that are positive, follow people that are battled with addiction, and just make yourself busy in that meantime. Stay sober an hour at a time. What happens is, you do that for an hour, you add another hour. The hours go on and on. You've done 6, you've done 12, you've done 24. You do the same thing again tomorrow, you find you've done 48. Following day, 72 hours. You keep going. The hours turn into days, days into weeks, weeks into months, and into years, just like that.
How long were you in the rehab?
I was there for about 3 months. Three months, 2 weeks, So 3 and a half.
How hard was it for you to completely do away with? Did you graduate after 3 months? What happened?
I had to come back because of finances then. Okay. It was really, really costly because I was in a foreign country and whatnot. And by then, I think my behavior sort of affected everyone. So it was those things, okay, let's give it a try and everything. And I felt I was ready. That was the main thing.
So after 3 months, did it work?
Yes, it did work.
Did you completely stop?
I completely stopped.
Or you partially stopped?
No, I came back, had my first last round, and then that was it for me. Yeah. Yeah, so I came back, and yeah.
Okay. So, rehab 3 months, and then you stopped completely.
Yeah.
What was your next job after that?
My next job was when you eliminate the drugs and the alcohol, you're starting your life all over again. Yeah, it means you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
It means company, your occupation, you need to make adjustments and different other things. So when I came back, I just started from scratch. Now that I was sober, that's when I began noticing, say, so my sisters have graduated, and basically I was noticing progress in others. But instead of looking at it from a jealous point of view, I began to look at it from a motivation perspective. Yeah. And I decided, I said, look, I'm too young, not as brainy as I was, but I think I can get myself in school for now while I'm still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I wanted to do what I'm doing, but then I needed school as a backup plan, yeah.
Okay, now that we're getting, I'm looking at time.
Yeah.
And we've done like 28 minutes already.
Whoa.
And I haven't even asked you any of my questions that I've prepared for you.
Ish.
So let's delve into the questions now. What you're doing right now, did it come out of experience, or it came out of passion even before you experienced what you experienced?
I always had the zeal of helping people. That's what took me to medicine. But when I was turning my life around, and I had an option of going back to school, which I also realized that medicine actually wasn't for me. And maybe that's why it didn't work out. And I looked around for something that I'll do. People said I go the ministry way, like my dad. But I feel this was my calling. So I can say experience, passion, as well as my calling. I like to call it that.
Okay. Was it a burden that you felt, since I've come out of this, let me help out someone too?
Yes, I just had to, because even now, the ratio of people that are battling addiction to the number of people that are offering help and the rehab centers around, the gap is still too huge.
It's huge, man. It's huge. And people need help out there, but they don't know where to find it. And that's the reason why I brought this guy. This guy is legendary on this platform, so that in case you're looking for a solution that is in line with what we're talking about and you don't know where to go, this is the place to come to. So this place is called Sanity House. Talk to me about the Sanity House. When did you open this place? Okay,
so the Sanity House opened last year in August. Right when I hit the 4-year mark of being sober. So I'm heading to my 5th year.
Your degree in soberness.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when it opened. I ran it with my colleague, Mr. Chris, a very good, very good guy who's also battled with addiction as well. And it's me, him, and Auntie Veronica, who also has been my auntie. She was there during my death, so she knows. As well as we have a psychologist who comes on board, who helps, and a number of people on board as well.
So now, just to clear the air, you don't take any alcohol, you don't do any drugs?
Clean and sober. If you see me, write in the comments somewhere.
Are you sure, man?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 years straight. You've
4 years,
done that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when someone comes to the Sanity House, what exactly goes on here?
Okay, so at the Sanity House, we work with people that are battling with issues to do with substance abuse. So the first thing that we do is for them to come in, of course, they have to have that willingness, that openness to say, okay, fine, let me give it a try. You don't need to be 100% convinced or willing. Even just a 10% can go a long way. So we work with those that are willing to work on themselves. We've made it a homely environment as much as possible for everyone to feel at home. Of course, people don't like the idea of confinement and this and that and everything. So what we do here is, firstly, addiction is a 3-way thing. Okay, so it's a spiritual, a mental, and a physical thing. So we have the normal devotions that's in the morning, basic devotions, because looking at where people are coming from, we cannot push them straight into the whole open praying and everything and stuff like that. So we have to slowly fix your spiritual life, and then we also work on the mental aspect for you to be mentally tough out there, because their addiction is just a behavior that people can see. Behind it, there are causes and conditions of why a person is using. So we try to address those causes, and when we deal with that, then you cannot go back. And besides that, we have the physical aspect, which comes to how people sleep, eat, as well as the physical exercise that one needs. So it's a total a holistic approach to addiction, and the duration of stay is from 3 to 6 months. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen a lot of guys here. Only guys?
What's
happening? I haven't seen any lady here.
For now, yes.
Why is that? Does that mean ladies are not abusing?
Right now, it's
actually the opposite.
Right now, we're having more ladies. Before, we would only talk about ladies being on alcohol, but now ladies are on, a lot of people, cocaine, heroin, basically everything. Like, ladies are catching up really soon.
Why are you focused on guys only?
Because we wanted to start with the guys thing, because the human resource that we had, the manpower, was mainly guys. Yeah, for girls, dealing with people is actually more difficult than with guys. Yeah, because the manipulative skills are more, and they require extra needs. So we managed to get a few people on board, and we're looking at mid this year going further. We should open up one for females as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do people pay to get here? I want to understand that.
Here we go. Yes, people do pay. Okay. So we offer different types of services. We have the outdoor services. We have those that also come back and forth, and those that we do we have the therapy sessions from their place. And then there are those that need rehabilitation. So for those that need rehabilitation, of course, we're looking at the food and blah, blah, and everything and stuff like that. So yes, you do get to pay.
I want to understand how you built this place. Is it your father who funded you? Was it an organization? What happened? Did you save to come up with this
actually
empire?
It's somebody, I had worked on somebody in the past, and somebody saw what I do, and then they came and they said, you have the potential to reach out and change more lives. Wow. And I was like, okay. Then they told me, where are you going with this? So I said, yeah, of course, I'm helping out. No, they asked me, what challenges are you facing? And I told them to say, look, I'm going through this and this and this and this. And they said, okay, so what is the way forward? So I said, when I'm done with school, I would like to, pursue this as a career for me. And because this is what I love. I don't want to work and go the career-wise, but I want to do this. So they told me, what do you need? And it was all like a joke. So they told me, what do you need? And I told them, I think opening up a place, this and that and that and everything. And they told me, give me a price.
Oh, wow.
And I mentioned, and they told me, give me an account. And I didn't have an account then. So just like, no, mobile money and everything and stuff. And I called my sister. I'm like, yo, something is happening and everything. Yeah. My sister is like, are you crazy? Give them my account number. I didn't trust her, but so I went back fully, they collected the check and everything started.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I need a miracle like that, ladies and gentlemen. I need a miracle like that. So, have you opened in August? Have you had some people recover from? Yeah.
We have a number of people on the outside that are doing extremely well. Yeah, extremely well. Okay. I think one of the reasons for the success rates is because we, now I'm saying my secret. Okay, so work with those that are willing, it becomes a bit easier. But we have majority of them, 3/4 are doing well, and I'm proudly saying that because the record for rehabs is about 38% success here. But we've managed to beat that, and we have some, of course, who've gone back, but then we did what we could. Yeah. But majority of them are doing extremely well.
Talk to me about the withdrawal syndromes, how difficult it is for your clients to just do away with the drugs that they've been abusing and they love for a long time.
Okay, that's okay. I'll use an example to make people understand.
Yeah.
When let me start with the drugs and with the alcohol. When you've been using drugs for a long time and you've been drinking for a long time, it means it becomes a part of you. Yeah. So it means you cannot do without it, which means mentally, even if you do not want to, physically the body will be calling you to take. So for those that drink, you see most of them shaking and shivering and everything. They have to take the first thing in the morning, or depending on whatever time, whether they're at work, immediately they're done, they have to go back and take, because they've been craving. Yeah. For those that are on drugs, if they stay away from the drugs, heroin in particular, they experience a lot of, diarrhea, there's the stomach paining, massive headaches, excessive sweating, all those things happening. So that is the withdrawal. To give you an example of how it is, it's actually a very painful process here, especially for those on drugs. And for those on alcohol, the craving is too much that you can do anything. it is in those cravings that's where the stealing starts, because you do not have any money in that moment for you to reach that point, but then you have to feed it. A common example I would give is, let's say we take you and then we put you in the desert, and then we say walk as much as you can, as far as you can. And while you're walking, we don't give you anything, no water, no umbrella for shelter, and we just want to see at what point you're going to break. You're a pretty big guy, so yeah, you would you would walk through. And in that moment, let's say you've walked for a day, and then you give up. You say, you know what, I'm done. Like at this moment, I cannot move anymore. We go like, okay, fine, cool. You cannot take another step. We take you, we put you in a room like this, and in between we put a glass barrier. So it's thick, it's unbreakable. You can see the other side, but then you cannot go through. And then the other side, somebody comes and then they put a glass of cold water. And then we're telling you, sir, focus on your career, you know, focus on your future, focus on what you want to do, focus on your business. It's impossible, because what your body wants is just that water. Anything else will not matter. So that's how the cravings are. Like, you crave the drug so badly. That's why you find drug addicts will go to any extent to get whatever it is to get high. That's how bad it is. So they would do anything above 1 quarter has to go. That's because you just want to get that fix. You just want to get a little bit of that boost for your body to stabilize. It's only when you take that, that's when you come down. That's how bad it is.
3 questions. First of all, I want you to talk about depression. What's depression in your own terms, and what is the cause?
Okay. I'll start with the cause. So there are many causes of depression. Of course, we have genetic, we have social pressure, and for me, I'll speak about it from an addiction perspective. When we look at people that are addicted, most of them get addicted because they are seeking to fill in a void. They are seeking to fill in on something that's really missing inside them. And once there's something missing in you, and then you crave it so much, but then you cannot want it, and everything you do keeps getting worse, and the more you still seek that thing, the more you get hurt. That would relate in depression. That's why a lot of people seek to use substances. In my situation, it was the need for validation. I just wanted people to accept me. I just wanted to be the cool person. But I felt that I was not cool within me. That's why I took to searching for happiness on the outside. So I feel depression is subjective, because what can be small to me can be big to another person. What can be big to that person can be small to me. So when it comes to causes, there are various causes. Of course, when you look at the addiction point of view, addiction and mental health related issues go hand in hand. So you can start with the drugs and the drinking, and eventually it will give you a mental health issue, or you can have a mental health issue that will take you to the drugs and the alcohol.
Lately, we've been seeing a lot of people committing suicide. Why do you think is the reason why that is happening?
The reason why people are committing suicide, you see, sir, when you're growing up, you know what to do. A child who's 10 years old, once they cut themselves, they know what to do. They know to say, I can use a band-aid, I can take painkillers. If it gets severe, I report, or I go see the doctor. Everybody knows what to do when they're growing up. But then as you're growing, the physical injuries reduce because you know how to avoid them. What increases, on the other hand, are the emotional and psychological injuries. Feelings such as rejection, failure, disappointment, all these things begin to pile up. But people know what to do physically, they don't know what to do emotionally. What do we know about emotional hygiene? Nothing. Yet there are scientific methods that are proven to help ourselves. What do the kids know about this? Nothing. So as a result, whenever people reach a cracking or a breaking point, they don't know what to do, they don't know where to seek help, and in most cases it's a bit too late. So as a result, people would rather take their own lives because they basically don't know what to do. That's why we need to bridge the gap between mental health and physical health. If these things can be equal, then imagine having a place where everybody is psychologically and mentally safe, or everybody is emotionally stable. That would be well. But instead, we line up at the gyms more than we line up in front of the therapist's office. We line up whenever we're sick for this and that, but then nobody wants to go seek help. So as a result, because of these huge differences, people reach a breaking point and then they don't know what to do. Hence the increase in suicide cases. That's my answer. I don't know for others it can be, but that's my perspective. I hope it makes sense.
This is deep stuff, man. Putting me in a position where I'm starting to meditate. What do you think is the solution to this, man?
I think we should do more than speaking out and just posting on social media and whatnot. I would suggest that we we sensitize more. Yes, of course, there are a number of campaigns that are coming out, but I'll borrow someone's words, you'd see an advert for COVID, you see an advert for this, you see an advert for that, but rare would you see an advert about mental health. These things need to be taught in schools. These things need to be taught in churches. These things need to be talked about in homes. It's about time we take this to the homes. Not when there is, in Africa we like doing the response thing, where something happens then everybody rushes there when it's a bit too late.
Or not proactive.
I just hope when everything gets back to normal, we don't forget about the whole mental health thing. It has to be something that's extremely ongoing.
Too much data right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Another thing, just to add, sorry, I'm still in time.
Please.
So just to add on, as you are growing, life takes its toll. We all become angry as we are growing. Why? Because you've been disappointed, you've been hurt, you've been angry, you've been heartbroken. So all these things are happening, and you just become angry as a person. Because life is all about fighting. You have to fight to keep your job, you have to fight to maintain a relationship, to fight for finances, fight for health. So this constant fighting keeps draining people, and the solution to that is self-care. So if each and every one of us can sit back and find ways and means of taking care of ourselves, that would really, really help, because your mental health begins with you first.
Powerful stuff right there, ladies and gentlemen. Who are your inspirations, man? Talk to me about people who inspire you.
A number of them. Firstly, I would go with my dad. His resilience is...
Can you mention your father?
Pardon?
Can you mention his name?
Yeah. Mr. Charles Mbazima. Pastor Charles Mbazima.
Okay, great.
His resilience and the man's thirst for knowledge is... it's crazy. He's so knowledgeable, and I look up to him and I go like, I wish I could. Looking at him as a pastor, looking at how far he's come, for him giving up, he had a high-paying position and then he gave it up all for service and everything. That's one of the reasons why when I got into this, it wasn't for money. Later it will be, but for now, it wasn't for money, because I draw so much from him, looking at where he's coming from and his thirst for knowledge. I mean, he knows you cannot talk about any topic that my dad will not be conversant about. Mental health issues, addiction issues, and everything. He's always reading, always researching and everything and stuff like that. And I'm kind of lazy when it comes to reading, but I just have to do what I have to do. But he's been the main source of inspiration, Of course, I have other people, mostly in the addiction lines, that have beat addiction and they've come out successfully,
What would you say is the biggest your accomplishment in life?
Getting sober. Getting sober. I was at a point where, for me, my life was going to end up either in jail, which is prison, because I had been to jail, or in the hospital because I was going to be seriously sick, I was going to die. And that's why I always tell people, place your recovery above everything else, okay? I love my mom, like I'm the biggest mama's boy in the country. And because she was there at a point where I wanted to commit suicide, and she held it down for me. But I cannot place my mom above my recovery. Why? Because if I go back to using drugs and drinking, she's the first person that's going to be disappointed. She's the first person that's going to be hurt. So for me, recovery really stands out large. And for me, the biggest thing was just getting sober. Because I wouldn't have been here.
Are you married?
Nope.
What are you waiting for?
I found someone, but looking into it. I was on the streets, guys. Come on, a lot of people ask me that, and people tend to forget my past, where I'm coming from. So I was rebuilding my life, and it's been 4 years. The first 2 years were figuring out things, and I had to get back in school, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So a huge part of my life was missing because of drugs and alcohol. So
Okay. Does this big body help you control the situation around here? Maybe people are fighting this kind of... You much.
My colleague is bigger than me, Mr. Creature. So we do work out with the guys, and luckily we haven't had any violent situations here. I think it's because the guys that come here are mostly willing. When somebody's willing, it's easier. Of course, because you're dealing with a lot of people that are broken. You do have altercations here and there, but it doesn't get that big.
Because of time, not because of content. there's too much data here and storytelling. Because of time, I'm gonna have to come back, man, and just dive into deep topics about what exactly you do, how you go about your trainings, and yeah, just more stuff that will help people come out of this. But we're going to end this interview right here, right now. To someone who gets to be inspired by you and they would love to do what you do, what are your last words to them?
I'll borrow the words of the legendary T.D. Jakes, where he says, everybody has a crushing moment in life. Why that happens, no one knows. Right now, as we're speaking, somebody's battling with a divorce, somebody lost their child, they lost their husband, somebody's going through finances, somebody's going through a tough time. Why that happens, no one knows. It's life. So each and everyone has a crushing moment. My moment was addiction. Of course, few things are supposed to happen, but that was the toughest moment for me. And once you're in the crushing moment, you need to realize that it's a process, okay? It's a process. You have to go through it. The danger is you can make certain decisions to make the process permanent. So whatever it is that you've done, there's still room for taking positive action and seek help. It does work out. I mean, look at me. I mean, if I was to show pictures of myself, people still don't believe. I meet people from way back and I introduce myself and they completely disagree. So whatever it is that you're going through, it's going to be well. And of course, let's speak out about mental health issues and let's reach out. Let's be there for one another. Let's talk. Let's learn to talk. Yeah.
I've got mad respect for you, man. You've done a lot for yourself. I still have people around me, around my family, friends, battling with the same. It's hard out there, man. So what you did, you redeemed yourself in an amazing way, and here you are helping other people going through the same, just to come out of it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
For just coming here and sharing your story. I believe that someone has been inspired. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do on the Real Life Show. We simply bring you the best that you need and the best that you deserve. It's been me and Daniel. Stay safe. God bless you. Peace.
Thank you very much.